Welcome, everyone, to the Spoken Wheel podcast. Really happy to have you here for episode number 1. My name is Chris Valadez. Run a group here in Brookfield called Cycle Brookfield. You may have heard of us. We're a bike advocacy group trying to make it safe and fun for everyone in Brookfield to enjoy the streets, enjoy what Brookfield has to offer by bike. Happy to be here on our first podcast for today. I'm here at my co-host.
I'm Peter Janunas. I own a bike shop in Riverside called Gears to You. Specializes in just repairs and just service and rentals. So it's a fantastic shop. I've been there about 2 years now. So stop by if you get a chance. The reason for this podcast is why we did it or started it is because we wanted a podcast for everyone else. There's tons of podcasts out there for bike racing, Tour de France, so on and so forth. But we wanted a podcast.
Tour de France. You make it sound fancy with Tour de France.
Tour de France. But we wanted a podcast for everyone else. For talk about local rides, talk about local racing a little bit, talk about where to ride, how to ride, so on and so forth. Today's episode, we want to talk about groups to ride with in the area. Yeah. The first group we're going to talk about is called Tower Racing. It's called Tower Race. I think they're changing their name to just Tower. I don't know.
Who races on that team, right?
No one does. That's the thing. No one does. That's why they're changing it. And so with Tower, what their thing is, what's special about them, what's unusual about that, they have rides going off 6 days a week. Most shops, most clubs have rides maybe once or twice. They have a ride between Tuesday and Sunday every single day. Their main rides, though, are on Wednesdays at 6 a.m. They meet at Spring Rock Park. On Fridays, they also meet at Spring Rock Park in Western Springs. And then right now, they're meeting at 8 o'clock on Saturday and Sunday mornings out of Spring Rock Park. So great ride. If they do an A and a B ride there, so you can show up, ride as hard as you want, as stay in the back, ride as little as you want, whatever you want to do.
Pete, what does A and B ride mean for people who don't know that? What does that mean?
A great question. Yeah. So I think A and B ride is someone who maybe a little bit faster, a little bit more experienced. That's probably a better word for it. That wants to ride a little bit harder and go with the group. Go if you want to stay out front, go as hard as you want, or go back, stay as easy as you want. That's the A and B ride. So the B ride's a little bit more relaxed, a little bit. I don't know, slower.
So where I'm at, B. You're saying I'm a B rider.
They don't have C rides right now.
You can call me. Fair. All right. But they could. If I show up, it's a C ride.
Yeah. and I think what most people do is they show up, they ride the B ride, kind of get their feet wet with it. And then it's kind of, you decide by yourself if you want to do A or B. So moving forward, there's another ride out of Oak Park called Oak Park Cycling Club.
Good group.
Yeah, they, according to their website, casual riding, commuting, riding with families. The cool thing about this group is that they have a ride every year. I think it's in August.
Yes, August.
Called the Right Ride.
Yep.
Right as in W-R-I.
Frank Lloyd.
Lloyd Ride out of Oak Park. Yeah. And it's a fantastic ride. It goes through all the different villages. Does come through Oak Park. It also comes through Riverside. Goes by the couple of Frank Lloyd Wright houses that are in both villages.
Does it come through Brookfield?
It does. It goes through.
Okay. Yeah. Why not? It should. It better.
It goes right through here.
It better. If not, we're gonna have some words with them.
We'll talk to them later. But that one, you could. It's. I'm not even sure. I think it's like 50 miles.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I think they have different lengths to it. Lengths.
Lengths. Yeah. You're getting French again, Pete.
And so you can do different lengths. Go as fast or as slow as you want. You got all day to do it. So those are a couple different rides, and I know you have a ride you like to do.
Yeah, we do. So there's obviously the group that I'm part of called Cycle Brookfield. We have our first Friday slow roll ride, and the idea behind there is kind of what Pete was saying, similar to the Oak Park ride. There's an opportunity for families to jump in. We go slow. The idea there is we go slow. We want to be able to communicate with people, show people how to get around Brookfield, navigate their town by bike. It's a really great family-friendly ride. We once had, I always like to tell the story, we had a young girl come out in her training wheels. She did 6 miles on training wheels with her parents. And I was like, this young girl needs an ice cream cone after this. It was like a hot day in the summer. It was really, really cool to see that. And that's what we get at Cycle Brookfield. These first Friday of every month, we have a slow roll social ride, as we call it. Meet here in town at the Compassion Factory. Everyone should come out. If you own a bike, if you only ride it once a year, whatever it is, come out to that ride. It's a good one. There's another group, a little bit kind of like Tower, a group that I'm part of and I frequent very frequently. We call it Roundagon Cycling. There's the 8 corners here in Brookfield. It's a play on like a Mad Max terminology there. One of our friends put up. It's I know it's silly, but
it's all right.
We're trying not to die in that 8 corners sometimes. So Mad Max feels appropriate, but it's similar to Tower. Virtually every day of the week there's a group ride going on. Something from A to B style. We'll kind of call it out ahead of time, like, hey, today's going to be a little bit more of a harder, faster paced ride. Sometimes we're like, hey, it's coming off a long weekend. Want to make sure that we're kind of toning it down. But it's mostly in the afternoons. That ride comes at like 5:30 here in town in Brookfield. That's where I pick up the ride. Really great group of guys and gals that will come through and enjoy that ride. I also know Lake and Harlem. I know you know the Lake and Harlem group as well. Very similar to the sort of Roundagon Cycling group, where there's no set schedule with both of these. There's an opportunity to try to jump in, look on their Facebook group and WhatsApp group. They're always telling you what rides are available. Someone's just calling out a ride. Hey, it's a beautiful day. It's 45 degrees today. Let's get out and get out. Get off your trainer and get on the bike. Great group of guys. You could find them on the social medias, and happy to have new groups join. These are some really great rides. I think that everyone should enjoy around town. Is there any others that you can think of?
There's a website called ChicagoGroupRides.com. It's run by oh boy, it's
I think, is it Half Acre?
Half Acre.
Yeah,
Half Acre runs it. It has all the rides that are in the Chicago area. List the days, times, the speeds, or the groups that's involved in it. And that's a good resource to start if you're looking for a ride, not just out here in the burbs with us, but out in the city or even the farther west suburbs, to get on that and take a look at it. It's a fantastic website for that. And again, sponsored by or run by Half Acre,
yeah,
who does a good job.
They do a great job in everything. They do a lot of racing. There's a lot of really cool stuff that Half Acre does. They're a team. It's based off the beer company, a little the brewery, right?
Yeah, they're sponsored by the beer.
They're sponsored by the beer. So not always are they doing beer focused rides, but Half Acre hosts that website. A lot of racing that happens also in Chicago. So the racing in Chicago scene is pretty good. I know. We have behind us, we have a fat bike. I'm not sure if you can see it much on camera, but the fat bike here, there was a recent race, Pete, right?
There was a race at the Forge a couple of weeks ago that was put on. I think they had about 94 people show up to this. It's a big turnout because it was not that great of a weather here in Chicago.
It's a bit cold.
It was a little bit cold, but they had a good turnout, and I know there's a couple more coming up in the next few weeks, and we'll talk about that in future podcasts about different races coming up, different rides coming up. But we want to talk about the fat bike a little bit, like the technology of it, about what it is.
Pete, you're the expert at the fat bikes. Man.
I guess.
This is you right here.
So, fat bikes, it's named that because of the tires. The tires are big and fat. These are about 4 inches wide, where a normal tire is about 1.5. Maybe a mountain bike is 2. It's got lower gearing on here. You can see the chain ring is smaller. This happens to be aluminum frame and very dirty. But the big thing is the tires. The tires are the big. It's great for the snow. Fantastic for cruising around in the snow. We have a lot of paths around here. We have the trails around here to ride on in the winter.
Salt Creek,
it's a great one. It's good for that. It's also designed to ride in the sand, which I wouldn't suggest because as someone who owns a bike shop, it's really not fun to clean out.
Or you send it to Pete's bike shop and have him clean all the sand out.
Please do. Yeah, I need the business. So. But one more thing we're gonna do. We're gonna highlight different bikes, different types of bikes as we move along here on our podcast. So this is the first one. Nothing fancy. It's actually neither one of us own a fat bike. We had to borrow it from a friend of ours.
What's wrong with this? N+1, Pete. Right? That's what we're supposed to do. It's always one more bike.
So I might just buy it.
Yeah, buy it. It's yours.
So that's really about it as far as the bike.
But as Pete mentioned, we're going to try to do every episode. We're going to have a bike that we're going to come in. Either it's one of you who are listening going to come in. We'll probably invite you on camera one day. Show us your favorite bike. We want to know what keeps you motivated, what keeps you on bike. You got some trails that maybe Pete and I are not aware of. Tell us exactly what you like to ride, why you're doing it, why you're out there on your bike. We're very excited to hear your story of what motivates you on the bike. I think that's part of the idea here of the average cyclists, the everyday cyclists, as I think we'd like to call it, showcase that a little bit more and what it is you do on bike.
Yeah, absolutely. Send us pictures of your bikes. Send us stories of your bikes. We'd love to see. I mean, I see all sorts of stuff in my shop, but I love to see all the old bikes, new bikes, and tandems. I love tandems.
You love tandems?
Yeah.
No, I didn't know that.
I got a lot of tandems. And I rent tandems too, so and electric bikes. So just send us pictures, send us stories. I love the stories about bikes, of why you bought a particular bike, the kind of bike it is, what you name it, why you bought it, because it's yellow, whatever. We want to hear all these great stories.
Yeah, some of the bike names are interesting. I don't name my bikes. I would probably run out of names. I'm sure like you don't. I have too many bikes. I haven't named them all, but they're all special parts of my fleet, my collection. Each bike has its own story. I would love to hear more about, like Pete said, follow us on Instagram, The Spoken Wheel, put some stories out there, put some suggestions, message us on there. We'd love to hear what motivates you, what really cool bike you have. Send us a picture, like Pete mentioned. Happy to have you on and talk more about your bike and what keeps you out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And follow us on Instagram. We've got a new Instagram, Spoken Wheel.
Spoken Wheel.
Spoken
yeah,
Wheel.
Look at us.
We'll have Facebook. We'll also, sorry, the time's going off here.
Our engineers are in the background telling us some stuff, guys. It's good.
Absolutely. And so, follow us on Instagram, on Facebook. I'm on gears2u.com, gears2u, Instagram and Facebook.
Same with Cycle Brookfield. We have a website, cyclebrookfield.com. On Instagram, we are Cycle Brookfield IL. On our Facebook page, you can find us there. And we even have a TikTok feed that we're doing at Cycle Brookfield as well. So we're on the old TikToks. I can't believe that's something that we're doing, but here we are. we're all social media here, Pete. Who are we these days?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? It's good stuff. Yeah. The other thing that we want to make sure that we're talking about is not only what motivates you on the bike, but what brings you out and what do you want to see? What information can we share with you? Pete and I ride probably just about every day. Between us, one of us are out. I know a lot of you are riding daily, but what do you want to hear from this show? Tell us, reach out to us, communicate with us, tell us more. Again, get us on Instagram, follow us, locate us, listen to the podcast, share with your friends, and see what your friends are saying. Like, hey, these guys really need to talk about this thing, or something needs to be spoken up about this. We'd love to have more content and talk to you about what makes good sense. And of course, I want to give a quick shout out as well. We have talked about our engineers. We have our engineers. We have Here to Record, who's local in town, doing a great job, trying their best to make me look good on this camera. I hope they're doing a good job. We'll find out. But Pete, you're way ahead of the game here than me. So yeah, not a lot of work needs to be done for you.
Yeah. So any ideas you have, any questions you have, any people you want to see on here, because we're doing video and audio, let us know, and we'll absolutely try to do our best to get them on here and talk more about things. And again, we want to do the other things, right? We want to talk about rides and people and everything else. So we don't want Lance Armstrong on here.
No. if we get him.
No, I don't. I still don't want him.
You don't want him. All right, fine. No, Lance. Sorry, Lance. You're not coming on.
You're not coming, Lance. But if you want to promote us, that's great.
That's good. Yeah, we'll take the promotion. But yeah, we want to thank you guys for tuning into episode number 1. Again, we're the Spoken Wheel podcast. My name's Chris Valadez from Cycle Brookfield, and always will be.
And I'm Peter Janunas from the Gears to You bike shop in Riverside, Illinois. Thank you.
Like, subscribe. Find our podcast wherever you get your favorite podcast. Hope to see you back next time. Thanks, everyone.